David Bishop, welcome back.
Thank you. I appreciate being back.
This is our second video recording of the insights that both Brick Meets Click and Mercatus have been bringing to market over the last few months. First of all, give me a sense as to what you feel is the critical importance of doing this kind of research.
You know, right now we have so much volatility and uncertainty that, insights like this can at least provide a little more visibility into the changes that we're seeing. And not that that's going to help predict the future, but it's going to help understand what's um, influencing it.
To what extent are the high sales numbers the new normal in grocery online shopping?
While I'd like to tell you it is the new normal, the reality is we just don't know. I mean, the one thing we do expect for 2021 is sales to remain relatively choppy. And by that, I mean we're going to see the peaks and valleys that we've already seen in the first quarter. Obviously, things like federal stimulus payments direct to households are going to play a significant factor. Unemployment, vaccination rates, any resurgence of the variants within the population. So we just don't know. I think we're going to be in for, again, like I said, a choppy 2021.
David, can you explain the determinants of online repeat intent?
When we look at repeat intent, we're simply asking that customer what's their likelihood to use the exact same service that they most recently used. And when we look at that, there are a number of factors that play into that. Which ones that are most important depend on who we're talking to. But it comes down to things like, can I get the slot time that I'd like? Can I find the products quickly and easily that I'm looking to purchase? Do I get all the items that I purchase, either exactly or at least an acceptable alternative in the form of a substitute? And do they arrive on time? We're seeing all those factors play out. And as retailers continue to refine and adapt to the realities that we're now living in, we're seeing that we're much better off than we were a year ago. But still, compared to prior to COVID, we still have a ways to go.
With the drop off in ship to home numbers, who's benefiting, the grocers or the mass merchandisers?
I think when we look at the trend relative to ship to home growth and penetration slowing, I think all channels are benefiting to some extent because that demand is really shifting into delivery and pickup. Now, ultimately, who wins more of that share is dependent on how able those retailers are to fulfill the capacity that they have available and to meet the needs and demands of those customers in their respective markets. And we can still see today, believe it or not, there are various types of capacity constraints that retailers, large and small, are still wrestling with. So there's no one simple answer in terms of who benefits from the downward trend with ship to home other than delivery and pickup in general.
David, you record that 25% of grocery shoppers online also buy from mass merchandisers at least one or more times a month. Is this trend growing or is it flattening out?
Well, this trend is growing if we look at it relative to a year ago. If we look at it relative to month over month, we're going to see some fluctuations. But to say that we're now at 25% versus, let's say, 15% a year ago is indicative to how the world has changed relative to shopping online. The digital shopping ecosystem is starting to mirror the way we would have shopped traditionally in the physical world. So I don't think we're going to see any massive changes from here on out. But the simple point is retailers need to recognize that this crossover shop between conventional regional grocers and mass are going to still be within that range of 20 to 30%. And, that's important, especially when we recognize the simple fact that, experiences elsewhere shape expectations with our stores. And so we need to be very mindful of that cross shop because there's a lot of innovation in terms of new services and new features that these customers may be first introduced to at a mass retailer, then the question is, how does that affect their perception when they experience your service? So, many of the things that we've been talking about over the last year are going to quickly become a cost of doing business from the operator standpoint. But that's a function of the fact that if we don't do it, the customer's going to make decisions that may ultimately cause them to shop somewhere else. And that's not what any retailer wants.
You've characterized 2020 as a year of grocery acceleration online. 2021, you've coined the year of reconciliation. Can you explain this?
Yeah, I think there's no question. Everyone understands the dramatic disruption we all experienced in 2020 as, COVID and the pandemic, hit our shores and changed our lives in so many ways. Retailers had to rapidly respond to that surge in demand. They dealt with many of the operational issues as well as they could. The dust is starting to settle, and even though we're at these elevated heights, the reconciliation that retailers need to have today is one, in many ways, one, reconciling that they're delivering the most seamless shopping experience that they can to their customers, especially in light of the cross shop with competitors. Two, they need to reconcile their strategic plans with their operational plans today, because a lot has changed and we have to retest those assumptions. And I think, lastly, we need to, rebalance our focus on managing both top line sales growth and bottom line profitability. And all those things accelerated in 2020. And again, this is the year we have to really reconcile all those various factors in order to ensure we have a sustainable strategy going forward.